Hey, welcome back to math. Today in math, we're going to be talking about even and odd and how multiplication facts follow certain patterns that can help you to know if maybe your answer is right or wrong. Even number times even number times odd number. Let's learn a bit more about this. Bob, take it away.
How can you explain multiplication patterns for even and odd numbers? Think about this question during the lesson. Nita says that the product of an even number and an odd number is always even. Is she correct? Even numbers are whole numbers that can be divided by 2 with none left over. Odd numbers are whole numbers that cannot be divided by 2 with none left over. What do you notice about the digits in the numbers from row to row? How can this help you understand even and odd numbers? From row to row, the ones digits stay the same, but the tens digits increase by 1. It is a pattern, so you know that all numbers with 2, 4, 6, 8, or 0 in the ones place are even, and all other numbers are odd.
Even numbers have 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8 in the ones place.
Even numbers greater than 0 can be shown as two equal groups. Think about 2 times 3 and 2 times 5. 2 is an even number. 2 times 3 means two equal groups of 3. 2 times 5 means two equal groups of 5. There are always two equal groups, so the product of 2 times any number is even. You can generalize. All even numbers are multiples of 2. Think about 4 times 3. You can think of 4 as two groups of 2. Using properties, which is another way to write 4 times 3 equals 2 times 2 times 3. Using properties, you can write 4 times 3 equals 2 times 2 times 3 as 4 times 3 equals 2 times 2 times 3. So, 4 times 3 equals 2 times 6. There are two equal groups of 6, so the product will be even. You can write any even number as two equal groups. So Nita is correct. Even times odd equals even. Now you know how you can explain multiplication patterns for even and odd numbers.
Okay, evens and odds. You've learned this probably in first, maybe even kindergarten, first grade, second grade. You talked about even and odd. Even numbers end in 0, 2, 4, 6, 8. But there's a pattern that goes with multiplication involving evens and odds. So let's take a look at this. Even numbers greater than 0 can be shown as two equal groups. It's got to be greater than 0 because if you multiply it times 0, you always get 0. Very good. All right, so 2 is an even number. Two groups of 3 means two equal groups of 3. So anytime you multiply by 2, you know you're going to get an even number because even means you can break it into two groups with none left over. So that's always going to be the case. Now it says you can generalize, which means you can make a statement that kind of covers everything. All even numbers are multiples of 2. So if you think about 4 times 3, that's like saying 4 is 2 and 2. So that's two groups of 2. A 6 would be three groups of 2. An 8 would be four groups of 2. A 10 would be five groups of 2. So the product is always going to be even if you multiply an even number times an odd number. Let's look down here. Does multiplying by 8 also always result in an even product? The answer again is yes, because 8, we're going to put yes, because 8 is a multiple of 2. And anything times any number times 2 is an even number. Okay, 3 times 2, that's 6. 5 times 2, that's 10. So even when you multiply by an odd number, you're going to get an even answer. Here we go. An odd number cannot be divided by 2 with none left over. So think about 3 times 5. 3 can't be divided by 2 without some left over, and 5 can't. So that answer has to be odd. If both factors are odd, oh, it says both factors are odd, so odd numbers cannot be divided into 2 equal groups. So an odd number times an odd number is an odd number. That's an odd thing to say. So odd times odd is odd. Even times even is even. And even times odd is also even. Strange. Do you understand? Do you understand? If you multiply 2 even numbers, will the product be even or odd? Explain. Well, we just talked about that. Anytime you multiply times an even number, you're going to get an even number. So the answer is even. And explain with an example. All right, well, let's do 4 times 2. That gives us 8, which is an even number. We'll give another example. 8 times 4. 32. And again, it's even. Over to here. Write or circle to complete the sentence. Explain whether the product is even or odd, and then solve. Whew, that's a lot of directions there. 4 times 6 equals blank. Can 4 be divided by 2? Yes. Can 6 be divided by 2? Yes. Now you can divide any number times 2. They just mean is it going to come out evenly. And when you get older, you'll get to do some of those dividing an odd number where you have some leftovers, and that gets tricky. But that's 4th grade, so don't worry about it. Okay. So 4 times 6 is even, and the answer is 24. Just a little way to kind of check yourself when you are solving these problems and you think about it. You're like, oh, I'm not sure if that's the right answer, but you know, if you're multiplying 2 odd numbers together and your answer was even, you're like, well, I know that's not right. So just a little way to maybe help you check yourself. And plus, it's just fun to keep saying even and odd. Isn't that odd?